we're building a Hurdy Gurdy-Tron, because of course we are. Introducing Hurdy Gurdy-Tron, portable MP3 player for when the world ends and there's no more electricity. Generate your own power. Ideal for walking around and annoying everybody.
Everything is absolutely making sense.
So this is a primitive laser cut box prototype. I'm currently building a much nicer Cedar box for it with some marquetry. I'm going to show you that, and I'll maybe show you some sketches for the design as well, and the schematic if you want to build your own. And yeah, let's dig in. So this is the guts of the Hurdy Gurdy-Tron. We have an old stepper motor that's going to have a belt drive added to it eventually, but at the moment you're just driving it directly, which means you've got to spin it pretty fast. That's attached to a couple of British rectifiers, which are attached to a regulator that takes it down to 3.3 volts. Tons of capacitors, two 1 farad caps there at the 3 volt section. ESP 32, an SD card reader, and a couple of little DAC amplifier thingies. And it's now got software in it to ramp up the volume depending on how quickly you run this thing. And if I slow down, and if I stop, the card will lose power, the ESP32 will lose power, but when it realises it's about to, it's storing the position on its EEPROM. So when I start again, it picks up from where it left off. So I'll give you a quick run through the schematic. The crank handle is attached through a belt drive to an old reclaimed stepper motor, which I'm using as the dynamo. It's got two coils, so I've got two British rectifiers taking the AC to DC. Yeah, I know I could have ganged the coils together and just used one, but I didn't. Big capacitor, like 0.3 farad, 35 volt. That's a little device that helps you if you want to stop cranking and scratch your nose. The machine will stay alive long enough. Voltmeter, a slightly hacked voltmeter. It isn't really 300 volts, that's just what it reads. Voltage divider, we'll get back to that. There's a light bulb and a press switch, that's that. And there's a relay so that the ESP32 can also activate the light bulb. This is a dump circuit, so if you're generating too much power, the voltage divider voltage is red on the ESP32, and if it's too high, closes the relay to dump power. 5 volt regulator. On this bit we have an SD card reader, or an SD card holder reader, yeah. The ESP32, that's a little voltage monitor, because I found that if you brought the power up very slowly, the ESP32 had a tendency to crash. So this just watchdogs the power and hits the enable pin. Whoops! Hits the enable pin when the voltage is high enough to sustain the ESP32. These are the two little boards that run the speakers. So these are like little DAC board like things. What else we've got? Oh yeah, back to this voltage divider, the other thing that will do is when the voltage drops too low, when it sees that it's beginning to crash, just before there isn't enough juice to run the ESP32, it saves the position of the music onto the non-volatile RAM, so that when the voltage comes back up again, it can pick up where it left off and you don't get a glitch. Finally, you have two rotary switches which have got big ladders of resistors on them, and those are used to select your tracks. So there's your, your 1s and your 10s. So you can have a track between 0 and 99. And that's really the whole thing. It's pretty simple, really. The machine is all up and operational. We're now building a little cedar box for it, which will have some marquetry on it. This is a test piece. This is the half finished final piece. Piercing still to be done. It's all covered in masking tape at the moment, so you don't really see what the finish is going to be like. But that's where we're going with it.
Like it all you